Good day. My name is Ted Howe, and I'm part of the deployment support team here in Ottawa with Diana Kao and our team lead, Keith Burnage. I'm going to be going through a quick video here for you today on the HLTA process, starting with how to make the initial HLTA bookings. It's always nice to have a refresher as things are constantly changing, and it may have been a while since your last deployment, or this may be your first deployment, and you need a refresher since training happened. So without further ado, let's get going. Okay, one of the most important things that you should do when you start off before you do any bookings, anything whatsoever, is familiarize yourself with the current theater SOPs and the MFSIs. That's stuff that you can do prior to making any bookings. When you come in theater, hopefully you'll have a couple days at least with the previous person that you're going to be replacing. So make sure that you try and go over all details there, any current developments that may have changed along the way, any foreseen issues that may be happening, and of course, definitely include your deployment support manager in those conversations and ask the questions. I know, especially when you're arriving first into a deployment, whether it's your first or your returnee, there's a lot of things going on. It's super overwhelming. I've been deployed before, and I came from outside of the military experience, so it was a whole new world for me. So yeah, try and soak up as much as you can, sponge up all that information to start off, and that should provide you with a good platform for a successful deployment. Next step that you'll want to do to set up another platform for success is to speak with your coworker during the handover to find out where all HLTA files and folders are located on your workstation. You'll be spending a lot of time on the computer and interact with members. So it's very good to familiarize yourself with where everything is located because you'll be building new files and folders for new upcoming HLTAs as well. So make sure that you're familiar there. So when someone comes in or you need to direct someone to it, it's just a couple clicks away for them and you're quite knowledgeable. Next step is a real fun one, actually. It's when you get to actually interact with the CAF members. So now it's exciting for both yourself, maybe a little nerve-wracking for both yourself and the CAF members, because for a lot of people, this HLT process, it's a total new world, and they're very curious about how everything works, what steps they need to take. And they may not be the only ones that are curious. There's probably also maybe some next of kin at home, some spouses that are also curious and very anxious and excited to see someone come home or to go to a third location on HLTA. Keep in mind that this is also our first point of contact with the member. So, make it a fun experience. HLT is something that everyone really looks forward to. It's a nice break from stressful deployments, from the monotony of everyday life during a deployment, and it can bring some very memorable experiences. So we want to make a good impression as PSP. We always do. We want to bring the fun, and there's no better way to do it in my mind than giving someone a trip home or reuniting with their family. So to initiate the HLTA, the member is going to have to bring you 3 forms. So the first one I've displayed here, and this is one of the 3 key ingredients to HLTA. It's the CF100 Leave Pass. So this is a military form. It has all their service numbers, ranks, etc. And here will be their leave dates that they're authorized to leave on. So this will match their HLTA travel request form, which we'll go over in a second. This form does need to be signed by the approving officer in theater. The next form that they're going to be requiring, and it will need to match the dates, of course, this is a PSP form. So it's the HLTA travel request form. We'll have a little more details, and this is the form that goes to Direct Travel, who is currently our travel provider for the CAF military contract. And this kind of makes it an easy mode for them to read the details that they're going to need to have to provide a proper travel itinerary. So ensure that all these forms are matching, the dates are matching. You can go over quickly with the member just in case they've made any mistakes. It will also have the type of HLT they're going to be doing, what airport they're going to be traveling into, their next of kin information as well. So very essential that you go over this kind of and verify that there's no issues, because if there are issues and it's not matching the CF100 Leave Pass that we previously went over, the travel agency that we're sending it to is going to probably come back and ask questions. So rather than having any confusion down the road, try and nip it in the bud and get to it early. The only other thing that we're going to need is their passport, of course. So this will be the passport that the CAF member has traveled into theater on. If you do not use that passport, it could provide security issues when they try and board their flight or when they return to the country. So the CAF recommendation is that the members travel always on the same passport that they traveled in on. Now we're ready to build members folders for HLTA. So I've shared a screenshot here so you can see all the files that are required. Now keep in mind, this is a more of a finalized HLTA claim, so there's going to be stuff in it that we haven't got to yet, such as their claim information and so on. But yeah, you can see there's the CF100 leave pass. There'll be an HLTA travel request form. Their passport's going to be in there, their tickets, everything that they need for their HLTA, but also everything that anyone on your team may need in case you're off for the evening or for the day, or you've gone home from your deployment, so that they have a quick reference and can be up to date. Okay, so now we have those 3 pieces of essential information for HLTA, so we're ready to start moving on to the next step, and this is accessing the database. You may have to build a database. Most likely there'll be a current database that you'll just be modifying. So the database will have everything that you need for HLTA purposes. It has operation, rank, name, service numbers, departure ports, their travel dates, their tour duration dates, their next of kin location, and even status of what stage the HLTA is at. So if it's not complete, you wouldn't see the rest of it filled in. But for example purposes, I've filled this in. The color coding, essential. So I've used green here to signify that the booking is complete. Red would have meant that the HLTA is canceled for whatever reason, and yellow means that the booking is in progress still and not completed. Now, depending on your deployment, the colors may vary. Just make sure that whatever colors you're using, you and your team members are all on the same page so you can get a quick glance and give members up-to-date statuses when required. The lines below here, you see below this red line, so never amend the cells below this line because it's used for tracking and reporting purposes. Shows what type of HLTAs are being booked, home, third, whatever you may have, and also costs. So this may be helpful for your deployment support manager if they need numbers to provide to Ottawa HQ. It may be essential for the FIN officer, so the financial officer in theater, and you can give them their information that they require at a quick glance. We're going to hammer this point home, but ensure that it's up to date and accurate. Any changes that you make for the member, make sure it's reflected in the database. It's essential because not only is it just for reporting and for people to give updates, but these lines, we're going to actually be copying and pasting these lines into the claim form once that we get to that stage. So just make sure it's accurate, and that will ensure that there's no conflicting information and confusion for you, teammates, or members. So we've got all the information that we need now from the member. And now it's time to actually try and provide the member with a travel itinerary. So to do so, we're going to send those 3 essential forms to Direct Travel, who is a third-party contracted travel agency. They have a very quick response time, but keep in mind, we are working in very different time zones. They're usually on the West Coast time. Depending on your deployment location, there's going to be definitely a difference of times. So please be patient and as well advise the members that there is that turnaround time as well. So we'll send that off to them, and we're going to wait for a response, and I'm going to show you what our response may look like. Okay, so now we can pretend that we've received the travel itinerary from Direct Travel. They've presented a travel option for the members getting themselves either home or to third location. This detail will show all the flights, all the breakdowns of the connection times, traveler names, dates, etc. So I know I sound like a broken recording, but we're going to ensure again that this matches the travel request pass, leave pass, to ensure that the turnaround time is optimal for the member and we don't have to keep going back and forth. One thing that will be coming, and it's very important, is this sheet in front of me. It's the cost sheet for the member. So it'll display, again, the member name, but more importantly, the cost for the trip. So very important to know that for home location, the CAF, it completely covers it. So there's no cost to the member. So we can see here, there's $6,025.62 cost here. If it's a home location, there's no cost to the member. The member would sign down here, date it, and then we can scan it, add it to their folder, and send it back to Direct Travel to say, go ahead and issue the tickets. Now for third location, it's a little different because there's only a certain allotted amount for each deployment. So, for example, if it was $3,000 that the deployment covers for location during that year, as it does change every year, then the member would be on the hook for the remaining $3,025.62. So the member would have to sign a credit card authorization form to cover that existing amount. And a tip that I would give from my personal experience would be to have the member advise what amount they're comfortable with over that amount. So fares change within airline pricing from day to day, and with the time zones, that's very applicable within these situations of deployment. So make sure that they may be comfortable, say maybe $200 or $300 more if the fare goes up, because we wouldn't want to issue a ticket with an amount charged to their credit card that more than that they're comfortable with. So just be mindful of that. But again, home location, everything's covered. Third location, a little bit different. There may be some overages, especially if the member's traveling with their next of kin. All right. So member's cost sheet is saved on file, stored in the members folder. We're going to go in, update the database, which we'll be doing consistently as well. So over here, I didn't really show this earlier, but it's very, very handy. This isn't the best example. I had to use screenshots as I wasn't able to do DWAN for this recording. But the different color coding is a very, very helpful tip. Usually green means completely booked. Yellow means in progress. Different codes will be for different deployments, but color coding is a really quick way to find quick references and make it easier to read. Use it. It's a very helpful tip to kind of track your progress and kind of get a view on how many people are left or how many numbers are left too. Now over here, we didn't really go over this in detail, but I wanted to show it to you as well. We can see the status of the booking. So there's the HLTA request received, leave pass received. So those would be in the early stages. Then when we send it to direct travel, there's the itinerary received column. And then after direct travel, if we at the stage we're at now, sending the cost sheet approval, we can say we're waiting for the e-ticket. So we'd be awaiting e-ticket. Once it's received, we put that on file, and then we'll update all the cost sheet invoiced amounts and add the invoices. So you'll be consistently in there updating it, and it will be very, very helpful to keep this accurate, because if you're off again, then your coworkers are going to have a quick reference to a member's inquiries about what their HLTA status is, and they can get a quick update while they wait for their tickets to come in or whatever the progress may be. So we'll wait for the tickets to come in, and if they do come in, we can update the tracking database as well to give the new invoice numbers, update the cost, and we'll of course be sending this out to the member. One thing that we'll be doing when we send it out to the members, we're sending a claim checklist. I'll show you an example of that. This prepares us for the next step, which we'll be going over in another video, how to prepare a claim. But don't worry, you've done a lot of the heavy lifting already by storing all the pertinent information in the members folder from the initial booking process. This here is the claim checklist that you'll be building. So it's good to create this in advance, preparation for members' return from HLTA. So you can see there's the basic information at the top there that you'll be filling in, and checkboxes for each required element of the claim. So pop as much in, whatever you have available right now. It's nice to do it in advance, and makes everything quicker on the turnaround for yourself and for member once they return from HLTA, because you most likely will be dealing with a mass amount if they're traveling on blocks. So a lot of members will be coming in. So it just makes it easier down the road. So if you have some free time during your deployment, it's always good to get this step kind of taken care of and prepare the claim for their return. Very important thing that you'll be sending to the member with their tickets is this travel itinerary form. This is for the members to fill out so they can detail every step of their trip. Home locations tend to be a little more simple than third location HLTAs, as there's a lot less things for them to claim, and most of the time the airfare is, well, every time for home location, it will be booked by the military or by us at PSP, so we'll have full track of that. But for third location, they are able to book on their own. So this step, they can detail every single step along the way, all the costs they may have incurred, and include their receipts. So it's just easier to kind of fit the puzzle pieces together and figure out how to build their claim properly, what is claimable and what may not be claimable, as long as it fits within the guidelines of the CAF HLTA policy. With that, we're pretty much at the end. So you can, again, and make sure everything is on file, database is updated. We're going to send the tickets to the member with the claim checklist. They're probably going to be pretty happy, hopefully. I mean, there's always bumps along the road, schedule changes do happen, but you've pretty much finished off that member, and now you're ready to work on to the next member that may be in line or on your desk. So hopefully this helps, a little refresher for the HLTA process. If you have any questions, you're always encouraged to reach out to your deployment support manager or us directly at the Ottawa HQ for deployment support. So signing off here, Ted Howe from the deployment support team. Hope this helps, and stay tuned for more tutorials on how to HLTA.